guess I would just like to say that I appreciate this honor so much. Leadership Jacksonville, since I did it in 1978, which certainly dates myself, it was a stepping off point. We were new back in the community, and it introduced me to a new community, and it began to narrow what I would consider to be my priorities in terms of community involvement. You can't do it all. So I think that if I were to thank someone for kind of giving me that push, it would be Leadership Jacksonville. I know that, and you probably knew Leon Haley, he is being honored at the same time we are. I read about him, I did not know him, and I regret it so much. Could you tell me about him? Because I'm sure that you all had met.
Yeah, Juju, Leon was a good friend, a tremendous leader in our town. Obviously, we both shared healthcare as a cause and as a purpose. But then when the pandemic hit, we were both there sort of on the front lines of talking about wearing a mask, getting a vaccine, taking care of your family, doing the right things for the prevention that needed to be front and center in our community. And Leon was a great leader in that respect. He really walked the walk. He was somebody who was very strong, very visible, and a friend to people on all sides of the political aisle. So his mark on this community in the very short time he was here has been significant. And I consider it an honor to be honored together. It's really humbling. Juju, you've been an absolute role model in how to be engaged in the community. Can you just reflect on that and its meaning for you?
There were two areas. One, I felt like women and girls were always going to be at the forefront, and spent a lot of time working with organizations that met needs of women and girls at risk. And also just people in need. I have a real big place in my heart for the Sulzbacher Center. And when we were living in Fernandina, I was very involved in Barnabas. And watching them grow from just homeless centers to full service centers for those people who have needs, and those needs need to be met, has been very rewarding. So Pat, what touches your heart?
Everywhere I've gone in my career, I've tried to reach out to young people in the community. So here in Jacksonville, the Mal Washington Youth Foundation has been particularly close to me. I've spent time on their board. I have a young mentee who is now in his senior year at UCF.
Oh, how
Gives
wonderful.
me great pride to know that he's come from when we started together and he was in middle school to watching him be graduating from UCF. So those kinds of journeys make it really personal and are quite meaningful.
So Pat, who would you consider a role model and an exemplary leader, an exemplary community trustee?
Yeah, somebody that I really have a tremendous amount of respect for is Tim Cost. And I just love what he's done with JU. And I think he's been very selfless in the way he's engaged himself in the community beyond even the JU campus. And I just really think his style and approach are quite effective. Who do you admire in the community?
There are three women that came to mind. One is Sherry McGill, and her work with the DuPont Fund, and her vision, and her approach in a more intellectual way to problems. And then Audrey Moran, she is a stellar community trustee, certainly ethical, certainly relates to different people and Nina Waters, who oversees I don't think people really realize the vastness of the Community Foundation. And her work there has been transformational. But I couldn't pick one of those three to put at the top.
As you were saying that, I was also thinking the other person I should pick is someone who actually is in my organization, and that's Darnell Smith. And Darnell is just a tremendous community leader, community asset in so many ways. And I'll share one little inside story. When the pandemic started, Darnell came to me and suggested, you know, our campus is going to be empty, and we have 2 big kitchens, and they're going to lay off their staff. They're an outside vendor. Why don't we keep them on, and let's produce meals for the kids who are going to lose their meals at their schools. So we produced over 1 million meals for kids because of Darnell's insight to keep that program running. And it's just classic Darnell.
It is. You know, I've wondered if he ever has a bad day. And he's always thinking of someone.
He really
so I'm
is.
glad you mentioned him.
Yeah, thank you.
If you were advising a young person about what to expect as he or she goes into the future, what would be your points of wisdom to pass on?
I have a couple of ideas that I would share in that space, and I'm reflecting on myself. Early in your career, many people don't want to make a mistake. They want to be perfect. Take a chance. Be willing to not be perfect. Take a risk. And always know that we must learn throughout our entire life. You don't have all the answers when you're 18 or 21. You don't have all the answers when you're 60. But if you're committed to learning and taking chances, you're going to go a long way.
That's a good answer. I certainly wish that I had taken more risk than I did. I also wish that I had spoken out a little more. Now, there would be people who said I spoke out enough.
They're wrong, Juju. Speak out whenever you feel the spirit move you.
I think it takes a while to really get one's comfort level to say that you think a little bit differently than the masses. And so I think we both have learned things through those.
Along the way.